Alyssa Thomas attacked Caitlin Clark on the court, and the refs called nothing. 0. But what makes this so much worse than just a dirty play isn't just the fouls themselves, it's what Thomas and Mercury coach Nate Tibbetts accidentally said the night before the attacks actually happened. Because there's a paper trail here, new evidence, and once you see it, the whole thing stops looking like a heat-of-the-moment play and starts looking like a coordinated hit on the WNBA's biggest star. Is it just a slip of the tongue? Or something more planned? Fans are furious, especially after the weak punishment Alyssa Thomas just got from the WNBA. Do you think Alyssa Thomas's one-game suspension is enough? Let me know down in the comments below.
Alyssa Thomas, a one-game suspension. So what they did is they assessed her a flagrant 2 foul for what they say is a reckless contact with her fist to the throat of Caitlin Clark in last night's game. This was not called at all in the game. And then Clark, on a closeout by a Mercury player, came down, landed on a foot, and re-injured her back. That was also not called in the game.
When you watch the June 24th footage with fresh eyes, knowing what Thomas and Tibbetts were saying the night before, the plays stop looking like basketball. They look like a checklist getting ticked off one by one. We'll get to exactly what they said in a bit, but first let's walk through what actually happened to Clark on that court.
Streaking to the basket, and here's what hustle plays are all about. You got 3 Phoenix players around Caitlin Clark, and yeah, it's...
I mean, Caitlin to the ground, and ooh, that's a hand to the neck, and then Alyssa Thomas steps over her. See, that's the kind of stuff that can incite some future trouble.
It all went down in the second quarter. The ball wasn't even near Thomas and Clark when Thomas kneed Clark in the groin while Clark was on the ground. Right there, that's already a flagrant foul in any normal officiated game, but the whistle never came. Thomas then pressed her fist directly into Clark's throat and neck area while using Clark's body to push herself up off the floor. Not an accident, not a basketball play, just a fist into a throat with the ref standing right there watching the whole thing. And then Thomas tried to step over Clark, who was still on the ground, and Clark had to physically dodge out of the way to avoid getting stomped. 3 separate acts, 1 possession, no call. You're watching one of the most watched players in women's basketball history take a knee to the groin, a fist to the throat, and nearly get stepped on while she's down, and the refs just let the game keep rolling like nothing happened. No huddle, no review, no conversation between officials. The game just continued.
You got to give landing space when the player comes out.
But that's not all. Separate from the Thomas sequence entirely, there was a closeout by Valerian Ayayi on a Clark 3-point attempt that came in so fast and so recklessly that it cut into Clark's landing space and drove her into an awkward position on the way down. Clark grabbed her back immediately on landing. That play did get reviewed on site, but the officials decided not to upgrade it to a flagrant. So again, no call that actually mattered. Clark held on for a bit after that, but with 5:15 left in the third quarter, she was seen grabbing her back during a timeout and heading toward the locker room. By the final minute of the third quarter, she was officially ruled out with a back injury and didn't return.
Not going to return. This was in the third quarter. She was on the bench in that timeout, and you can see her face. She's grimacing, and she immediately decides that she's going to go back to the locker room. And in the third quarter, Paris gave us the update.
And here's what makes that genuinely infuriating. The Fever weren't getting blown out. This was a tight game, a game they were absolutely still in, and they ended up losing 111 to 109. 2 points. Clark was gone, and they lost by 2 points. Before she left, Clark had already dropped 19 points and dished out 8 assists in just 20 minutes of play, which means she was basically on pace for a 30-point, 10-assist game before Thomas and that reckless closeout took her out of the equation. One analyst pointed out that Clark's combined points and assists at halftime alone had already outpaced what Kelsey Mitchell scored in points for the entire first half, despite Clark playing far fewer minutes. So the Fever didn't just lose a player, they lost the player who was absolutely cooking that night.
Clark, sidestep 3, fading, hit!
gives a little bit of room to see the ball.
13 lead here for Phoenix. It's been a back and forth opening quarter so far. Clark getting right to the hoop. Clark. Early in the bag. Step back three. Connects again!
4 plays, no live calls on any of them. And once the WNBA actually sat down and reviewed the footage after the game, they upgraded the Thomas play to a flagrant foul too, which is the league's own way of admitting, yes, that was a flagrant foul. The refs just didn't call it when Clark was still on the floor, and the Fever still had a chance to win. The review came too late to change the score, too late to protect Clark, and too late to matter for the outcome of that game. Thomas has been down this road before, and the June 24th game wasn't even her first rodeo targeting Clark specifically. If June 24th were the only time Alyssa Thomas had done something like this, you could maybe write it off as a bad night, emotions running hot, whatever. But it's not even close to the first time, and the list of players she's hurt or targeted is long enough that bad night stopped being a believable excuse a while ago. Let's go back to 2024, when Thomas ran straight through Clark's body as a rookie, making 0 attempt to play the ball.
Take another look here at the heavy contact. A little bit of a shoulder there. Not a little bit, a lot of a shoulder there for Alyssa Thomas.
Yeah, they're not going to look at this. They might.
It's gotten the fans here fired up.
Just a full body check, no call, game kept going. That play got attention at the time, people talked about it, and then nothing changed because the league did nothing. Thomas also clocked Clark in the jaw in a separate incident that same year, so the throat area apparently isn't new territory for her either. 2 separate incidents targeting Clark alone, both in 2024, and Thomas walked away from both without any real consequence from the league. Then in the 2025 playoffs, Thomas took out Nafisa Collier.
The tip was clean by Thomas.
Look at that.
And they banged knees after the Nafisa Collier.
She has 21 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and Fee is being helped back to the locker room. Let's go over to Angel Gregg.
Yeah, I'm watching her walk through the tunnel right now. She is clearly...
Collier, one of the best players in the league, went down and as of right now is still dealing with that injury, which means it's been close to a year of recovery from a single Thomas play. No suspension came out of that one either, at least nothing that stuck or changed Thomas's behavior going forward, because here we are in 2025 still watching the same patterns play out. Angel Reese got clotheslined by Thomas in 2025.
Man, that's kind of wicked right there. There's got to be an upgrade. Look at that. I mean, she's grabbing her neck.
Nowhere near a basketball.
Yeah, and then pulls her down.
Not a hard foul, not an aggressive box out, a clothesline. And during Unrivaled, Thomas went after Cameron Brink's already broken nose, which isn't even in the same category as playing physical basketball. Brink's nose was already injured and Thomas targeted it. That's not competitive aggression. That's just going after someone's known weak spot with intent. Here's where it gets interesting. Because when you look at all of these together, the pattern isn't just that Thomas plays hard or that she's physical. It's that she consistently goes after players who are stars or already hurt, and she does it in ways that tend to fall just outside what refs are actively watching for in real time. A body check here, an elbow there, a knee while someone's already on the ground. Each play individually might get written off. All of them together, across multiple seasons and multiple opponents, start telling a very different story.
Any bump to the face. Oh gosh, it's got to be so tough. Cameron just with the wherewithal getting hit and still made the basket. That was super impressive.
And it's not just Thomas doing this in a vacuum. The Mercury as a team have been involved in chippy, aggressive situations repeatedly this season, so this isn't one player going rogue while the organization stays clean. The aggression runs through the whole roster and, as we're about to get into, apparently through the coaching staff's game planning too. People in the comments have been pointing out that Thomas reportedly backed down when Hines-Allen stepped up and confronted her directly after one of the June 24th incidents, which tells you something. Players who genuinely don't care about consequences usually don't flinch, but Thomas flinched. So she knows exactly what she's doing. She just does it when she thinks she can get away with it, and most of the time the refs have let her.
Hines-Allen. Muscle on muscle, and Hines-Allen wins the battle, and a foul.
Be physical, and in the post-up game is one place right here. 2 hard dribbles, gets the leverage, playing undersized. And
so when you line up the 2024 Clark body check, the Collier injury, the Reese clothesline, the Brink targeting, and now the June 24th throat punch and knee to the groin, you're not looking at a player who occasionally crosses a line. You're looking at a documented multi-year pattern with specific victims and zero meaningful punishment. And now there's new evidence proving Thomas, DeWanna Bonner, and head coach Nate Tibbetts planned the June 24th attack on Clark all along. Most dirty plays in basketball get chalked up to the heat of the moment, emotions boiling over, competitive instincts gone a little too far. That excuse works sometimes. It did not work after June 22nd, because what came out of that post-game wasn't emotion. It was a plan spelled out on camera to reporters.
As that one doesn't go. And Bonner and Clark continue. And players and officials now getting involved. Security has come off the bench. And Clark is trying to get these fans into it.
The June 22nd game between the Fever and the Mercury got ugly fast at the end. In roughly 8 seconds of game time, officials handed out 6 technical fouls and an ejection, all of it spiraling out from a confrontation that pulled in Caitlin Clark and DeWanna Bonner, who is Alyssa Thomas's fiancée. 6 technicals in 8 seconds isn't a scuffle, it's a meltdown, and the Mercury walked off that court angry. Instead of cooling down after the game, their coach and their star player walked straight into the post-game press conference and started talking about June 24th.
Well, we're already setting up a game for Wednesday night, by the way. But let's not forget DeWanna Bonner was a member of the Indiana Fever last season. And I'm not sure if she parted on great terms. And Caitlin Clark and DeWanna now on multiple possessions getting tied up.
And now Hines-Allen and Thomas, who had a tuffle a couple of possessions ago.
Nate Tibbetts, the Mercury's head coach, told reporters that night that the team would remember the altercation going into the next game. Not we need to move on or we'll focus on our execution, but specifically that they'd remember it. The next game was scheduled 2 days out on June 24th against the same Indiana Fever, with the same Caitlin Clark on the other side of the court.
You know, these are fun games to get in. It got a little chippy in the fourth. You know, I'm sure they'll remember it, and I know we'll remember it too.
Are you trying to get the team refocused after what happened there in the fourth quarter and get everybody back centered and trying?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a competitive group, a veteran group. They've been around this for a long time. They're not afraid of the smoke. You know, we're going to compete at a high level. And, yeah, you just stay with it and keep playing.
And then Alyssa Thomas spoke. She openly talked about increasing the physicality for the June 24th game and confirmed the team would stick to the game plan. That phrase, stick to the game plan, is doing a lot of work there because the June 24th game hadn't been played yet when she said it. So whatever the game plan was, it wasn't something Thomas came up with in the moment on the court 2 days later. It already existed. She confirmed it out loud to reporters on camera. Let's be clear about what this actually is. These weren't locker room conversations that somebody leaked. They weren't anonymous sources or secondhand reports. Thomas and Tibbetts both walked up to microphones and publicly described their intentions for a game that was 48 hours away, right after their players had already gotten physical with Clark in the game that just ended. And Thomas herself had tried to elbow Clark during that June 22nd game too, so the aggression toward Clark specifically wasn't some new development that showed up out of nowhere on June 24th.
little bit better. But offensively, you guys were getting shots.
Yeah, and offensively, we know we can attack them however we want. That's one of the key emphasis when you play them. Just moving them and trying to get to the basket. I think when we do that and attack them and get to the free throw line, it's a different game.
Picture this. A coach telling the media his team will remember a confrontation involving the opposing team's best player. And that same night, that player's teammate announcing they're turning up the physicality next game and sticking to the game plan. And then 2 days later, that same player punches the opposing team's best player in the throat, knees her in the groin, and tries to step over her while she's on the floor. At some point, you stop calling that a coincidence. Are you ready for the part that really ties it together? After the June 24th game, DeWanna Bonner, Thomas's fiancée, the same person at the center of the June 22nd blow-up, told people that Phoenix finally got their revenge against Clark. Revenge. That word didn't slip out accidentally. It's exactly how the Mercury framed the whole situation internally. Revenge for what, exactly? Clark didn't throw a punch on June 22nd. She was involved in a scuffle that the refs turned into a 6 technical pileup, and somehow that translated into a Mercury game plan built around physically targeting her 2 days later, carried out on the court, and then described afterward as revenge. The league reviewed the footage after June 24th and handed down a punishment, and that's where fan anger stopped simmering and started boiling over completely.
She should be fired. Kathy Engelbert should be out the door. This is a joke. As opposed to sending a real statement, I'm talking 10 games, 20 games, a massive fine. They have handed down a 1-game suspension to Alyssa Thomas. This league is not serious at all.
A throat punch, a knee to the groin, a near stomp on a player who was already on the floor, a reckless closeout that sent Clark hobbling off the court with a back injury in the third quarter. The WNBA reviewed all of that and handed Alyssa Thomas a 1-game suspension. 1. The league dropped the official announcement on June 25th, the day after the game, and the language they used was pretty clear. Thomas was suspended for recklessly making contact with her fist to the throat area of Clark, and the league classified it as a non-basketball act. That's the WNBA's own words, non-basketball act, which is about as close as a league gets to admitting something was just an assault. Under WNBA rules, a flagrant foul 2 carries an automatic fine and a possible suspension, and the minimum under that threshold is 1 game. Thomas will serve that 1 game on June 27th when the Mercury visit the Toronto Tempo, and then she will be right back on the court.
This is ridiculous. The league does not want to clean itself up. This league does not want to grow. This league does not want to further itself and better itself. Upon post-game review, the Phoenix Mercury's Alyssa Thomas had received a flagrant foul 2 penalty and 1-game suspension for recklessly making contact with her fist to the throat area of Indiana Fever Caitlin Clark.
Fans did not take it well. Not frustrated, not mildly annoyed, genuinely furious in a way that flooded every comment section and sports forum for days. People called it the softest punishment I've seen given these circumstances. Others pushed for at least 5 games. Some said 7 given Thomas's history across multiple seasons. And a real chunk of people online threw around lifetime ban in all caps like they meant it. One reaction that kept getting shared was the point that a 1-game suspension basically sends a message to every team in the league. Go ahead and do exactly what Alyssa Thomas did on purpose. It'll only cost you 1 game. That's not a deterrent. That's a price list.
And now, not only do they have the treatment for the last 3 years, and now they got last night, but even worse, the pathetic suspension makes this look even worse. It makes it look terrible. The league has no self-awareness whatsoever. It's crazy.
Let's talk about the NBA comparison. because fans kept bringing it up and it's hard to argue with. In the NBA, when incidents involving star players look premeditated or cross into flagrant territory, the league has historically handed out multi-game suspensions, hefty fines, and in some cases opened formal investigations. One game for a documented, on-camera throat punch on the most-watched player in women's basketball felt like a completely different standard, and people noticed. But that's not all, because the referee piece made fans just as angry as the suspension itself. The flagrant foul wasn't called during the game. 3 officials were on that court and not one of them blew a whistle when Thomas put her fist into Clark's throat at 6:52 of the second quarter. It took a post-game review to catch something that looks completely obvious on video, and none of the officiating crew faced any public consequence for missing it. No statement, no acknowledgement, nothing.
During the game, have you seen that? Did that have any impact on her health in this one?
I just saw it. I'm not sure if it had any impact on the health or her health or not. But it was egregious. The fact that it was a no call. I heard about it at halftime. I brought it to the attention of the officials at halftime. Yet we still had 11 fouls in the fourth quarter to their 2. They still shot 24 free throws in the second half.
Stephanie White wasn't going to let that go quietly. Her post-game press conference wasn't careful or diplomatic. It was direct and visibly angry in a way that's hard to watch without feeling it yourself. White called the uncalled cheap shots absolutely egregious and utterly disrespectful, and said the overall situation was absolutely unacceptable. On the throat contact specifically, she didn't mince words. The fist in the throat is crazy. It's crazy. It's dangerous. She also pushed back hard on the league's review of the reckless closeout on Clark's three-point attempt, pointing out that even after review, the officials didn't upgrade it, which she called absolutely disrespectful. And then White landed on something that a lot of Clark fans have felt for a while now. She is not called the same way everybody else is called.
And the reckless closeout that they actually review, and the foot still comes down on top of the defender's foot that wasn't upgraded, absolutely disrespectful. We have a generational talent and a WNBA superstar who had 2 cheap shots right there that weren't called. And I just say again, absolutely unacceptable.
That's the Fever's head coach saying out loud that the league's biggest star doesn't get the same officiating protection as everyone else on the floor. Before June 24th, Clark was averaging over 20 points a game, and the Fever were genuinely in the championship conversation. She finished that game with 19 points and 8 assists in roughly 20 minutes before her back gave out and she didn't return. By halftime alone, she'd already generated an estimated 35 points worth of production. So the Fever didn't just lose a player, they lost the engine running the whole offense. One post-game flagrant and 1 game off doesn't fix Thomas's history, the Mercury's stated game plan, or refs who missed a throat punch in real time. Every team in this league just watched exactly how this played out and did the math. Do you think Alyssa Thomas's 1-game suspension is enough? Let me know down in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications as we're bringing you all the action and top stories. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next one.